The lesson I've chosen comes from my 6-week plan, and it's entitled How a Bill Becomes a Law. The target audience would be a 12th grade civics class. It could actually be a U.S. history class as well. For the purposes of this, I'm actually using it for 12th grade civics. Now, I would start with actually trying to get the students into a discussion, gauging their prior knowledge, so then I actually can take that information and even lead the discussion into a different way, or even to a teachable moment if I'm clearing any misconceptions that might be happening. I would ask, who are the players involved currently? Where does that power come from? Can you name some current bills that are in Congress? Just to kind of gauge to see where the students are and what their understanding is currently of how the process of federal laws and bills are done. There's a brief clip I would show from Schoolhouse Rock. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And unfortunately, there's not going to be any audio when you take a look at this, but if you guys are familiar with it, it is How a Bill Becomes a Law video. I remember seeing this when I was actually in, probably elementary school. And it goes all the way from the beginning of how a bill is started, pretty much from the genesis level with local governments, goes all the way up into Congress to committee, and essentially all the way to through the House or through the Senate. So it's kind of a visual and animated way to show students exactly how it works. So after we would go through that, it's about a 3-minute video. We would talk and we would discuss through guided practice what exactly did they see, what type of pitfalls might they encounter in creating a bill, what were some highlights, what was exactly the process that they went through. Then I would get them together into collaborative groups. They're already within their own collaborative groups of approximately 5 students each. They would work together with their table partners to outline steps of a bill becoming a law. They would use poster boards. We often use this in class. And they'll have approximately 20 minutes to outline the process of from the beginning all the way to the end and what takes place. There'll be a discussion at the end after students to compare the outlines to the other class members. Was anything missed from one particular group? Is there any clarification that's needed? So getting the students involved, getting the students working collaboratively, talking, and just exchanging ideas amongst each other. And again, the important thing is just get the clarification at the end if there was any misconceptions. Now, I would also include these videos here. One is showing the House of Representatives in action, so to speak, in actually voting on a bill. This is a YouTube clip from when the House was passing the health care bill. And what I really want to get the students to see is just kind of the organized chaos that takes place when the House members are voting. And hopefully they'll be able to see the different members walking around trying to lobby for their particular party, and just talking to their fellow congressmen about the bill. On the other side, I want to briefly show them what happens in the Senate. This also happens in the House, but in the Senate, just some brief debate and what could take place when they're trying to pass a bill. Again, the audio is not going to be available, but essentially in this clip, it is a Senator, Harry Reid, who is arguing his case for the passing of a particular bill.
Has had since Wednesday to read this bill. Obviously, he hasn't done so because the facts he's talking about do not exist, except in the mind of.
So I show approximately maybe 2 or 3 minutes of that. There's only so much C-SPAN that someone could take. So Too much would probably be put them to sleep. So after that, what I would do is that we would divide them into groups. Students would be split into two sections, a Senate and a House. Two-thirds of the students will represent the House, a third of the students will represent the Senate. Kind of the same ratio that you might see in Congress. Over 400 House members today, 100 Senate members today. What they're going to do is they're going to act out and they're going to work in the same way that the House of Representatives did and the Senate did in order to create a bill and eventually turn it into law. So the House will work together to introduce a bill from committee. The bill will be put by a vote in the House. Once passed, it will go to the Senate for a vote, and the bill will go to the President, who eventually, essentially, is the teacher. All the procedures will be laid out, and we'll talk about, kind of reiterate what happens from the very beginning all the way to the end. And these laws which are put into place or being created don't necessarily have to be real laws. They could be anything from passing a gas tax or changing something that might happen in the classroom. So as two-thirds of the students are working on this, a third of the students will work as the Senate. They'll work together to introduce a bill from committee. The bill will be put by a vote in the Senate. Once passed, it'll go to the House for a vote, and the same thing. The bill will go to the President for signing. And as a teacher, you have veto power. So in the wrap-up, this is what I would do. I would prompt the students with questions. Was it easy to get a bill passed? What unexpected obstacles did you face? Do you think that the way in which laws are created and passed is efficient? Trying to elicit responses, trying to get them to think critically about the structure and the procedure of government. And I apologize, there's supposed to be a question mark after past and number one. And also, at the end, I will prompt the students to ask any questions, discuss any further that may not understand about the process. So it'll be a discussion at the end. Again, there's no formal assessment at the end of this. The formal assessment will take place at the very end of the week, which will include the knowledge from this particular lesson. The purpose of this lesson is to get them engaged, get some meaning behind what happens rather than just looking at something in a text, but actually participate in role play and act out what's taking place. So I appreciate your time and I look forward to your feedback. Thank you very much.